Now, what does an impatient old woman, a jerky businessman, a security guard, and a former Afghanistan soldier, and a young woman have in common? One of them could be the devil in M. Night Shyamalan's new project, Devil, a suspense movie which is probably the first in a series of anthology films that Shyamalan wants to produce called The Night Chronicles. Hi, I'm Rob and welcome to R&B Reviews. Shyamalan produced this film and wrote the story, but the script is actually written by Brian Nelson, who wrote 30 Days of Night and Hard Candy, and was directed by John Erdaudo, who directed Quarantine. Now, the film has two stories going on. First, 5 people are trapped in an elevator and someone is attacking them. And the second story involves a detective who is a recovering alcoholic who is investigating a suicide at the same building before becoming involved with the other story. Now, this film kind of reminded me of anthology stories from the 50s and 60s, like One Step Beyond and The Twilight Zone. Mostly, the monsters are due on Maple Street and Will the Real Martians Stand Up? Involving people, pointing the finger at each other. This film is also kind of like a throwback to the Agatha Christie books like 10 Little Indians. Now, I found the beginning of this film interesting after learning that the devil can take many forms, and it let me want to know which of these people could be the devil, and I was happy that the film did not all take place in the elevator. I think that what made this help is that the film doesn't use big-name actors for the parts. I think it also helped because we can believe the possibility of one of these characters, hurting another character without the distraction of a big star, especially when characters begin to crack under the pressure and everyone begins to turn on each other. It kind of reminded me of a problem Alfred Hitchcock had when he was making the 1927 film The Lodger with a big-name popular star at the time. He and the producers were having a hard time trying to decide whether to make the star the killer of that film or just an innocent man that people think was doing all the killings. Now, over the course of this film, we get different theories on who the devil might be, of course, and we might all, although I think the film kind of pushed hard to make it look obvious who it wanted the killer to be. The film begins to lag kind of in the middle, and the story, I think, would have worked better as an episode of a TV show, like a half-hour one or maybe even an hour. The focus of the film kind of goes less on the elevator characters and more of outside the elevator with the detective, and as a result, I thought that we lost some tension for them as the film progressed. It definitely picked up at the end, but I think the movie needed a couple more scenes in the elevator to show them being at each other's throats. Now, like a lot of other Shyamalan projects, there are some religious references that the audience might pick up on. And without giving anything away, I think the biggest shock or surprise for the audience is not what's going on in the story, but the last line of dialogue a character says in the last scene right before the last shot. I would have liked to have seen more scenes of the trapped characters so that I think we could see them crack even more, which leads to the last act of the film, but I think there is just enough for me to give this film a mild see-it-in-theaters verdict. Okay, so that's my review on Devil, so feel free to leave any comments about the movie or about this video, and hopefully I will see you next time on R&B Reviews.